Hey, this is Brian here, the land guy. In this video, we are going to be fixing a pond dam that has been failing since the beginning of time. Now, I'm kind of joking on that, but it has failed since the pond was constructed. This isn't just your normal farm pond. This is a recreational pond, and the intent was to have a nice 2-acre pond just down below a very nice family home. In fact, we're on our way there right now. We've got the dozer right there that's going to be coming. Our friends with Equipment Share is going to be bringing out this 655K John Deere track loader. Looking forward to this pond build. Stay tuned. We'll show you the process. We'll walk you through the steps to get this thing fixed. Well, right down here is where we're going to be offloading. This is the owners of the pond that we're actually going to start getting fixed and see if we can get some water to hold in this pond. We're going to be offloading right here. And right down through there is where we're going to be going. So let's pull up here and we're going to help get unloaded here. All right, this is the pond that we're going to be fixing up and helping this landowner. Let me give you just a little bit of history about the pond. The folks that live up in the house that's on top of the hill, they bought this property about 10 years ago, this land had the pond on it. But the pond was built about 20 years ago, the best that we can tell from looking at satellite imagery. And it was a large process build. Now this thing will hold about 2 acres of water. And it has several acres of watershed to feed the pond. And this landowner that owns this property that I'm helping out said that every spring during the wet season, this thing will fill up and then it will just leak away in a matter of days or weeks. He says it never would hold water, but each time he'd come down here and he'd drive across the top of the pond bank, go to the back side, and he said it was like a water fountain just spewing water out. So he knew that the pond dam was failing, knew that it had some issues, and he was just crossing his fingers over the last several years, hoping that it would seal up. Now, he told me that the previous guy that had this pond built said that it never would hold water. And we did find out that in 2008, in fact, I'll just throw you up a picture and show you what it looked like in 2008. But it didn't last that long, is the way I understand it, because it went back down. And the reason it went back down is because it was leaking through the pond dam. So a few weeks ago, when I made that other video on the channel, we came out here and dug some test holes to determine where the leak was in the pond dam. Come to find out that the majority of the pond dam was constructed with material that is not proper for a pond dam. It had a lot of rock in it. It had a lot of topsoil, black topsoil. It did have some clay in it, but what the landowner was telling me that this side of the pond here was the worst on leaking on the backside of the pond dam. Well, as you can tell here, I kind of left some of the dirt here on top. This is just topsoil and mud, and it was just as wet as can be when I dug under there. So what happens, that water begins to come up to this point, and then it just leaks through the pond dam. And this thing is several feet in width, and it would just drain this whole pond. Now this over here, it didn't have a whole lot of topsoil in it, but it had a lot of rock. I did find some black soil, and that one up there had a lot of rock, had some clay in it. So the fix is going to be coming in here with that track loader, and I'm going to be digging out the whole front facing of this pond dam, and we are going to reconstruct a new pond dam, so to speak, in front of the old one. That's the plan, and we're going to make it pretty thick, at least about the width of that machine. And we're going to be coming in here with a sheep foot roller and compacting clay in lifts. Now, you're saying, well, what kind of clay are you going to use? Well, we've got 60 loads of really good clay that's not too far from this location here in Southwest Missouri that we're going to be trucking in. And I've got to build an access road from the road up there down through here for those dump trucks, and I'm going to be able to scoop it up and carry it with that bucket. But first, I'm going to be digging out all of this, and I'm going to be digging it out low, similar to what you would do with a keyway, as far as we can go. And then we're going to be dumping in that clay, and we're going to be compacting it in lifts as we bring it up against the old pond dam. Now, doing it that way, I feel like would be a great fix. The landowner, he agrees as well. He thinks that this could be the solution to fix this pond that was built, that was never meant to hold water. But hopefully we'll provide this solution, and this coming spring, it's gonna hold water and it's gonna look really great. But we've gotta get that repair done on that pond dam. We've gotta get that soil out of there and put really nice clay in there and get that dude fixed up. That way, whenever this thing fills up with water, it's not gonna be able to leak through the pond dam. That we're gonna do that thick enough, and it's gonna be compacted enough that the hydrostatic pressure of all this water is not going to allow it to seep through that pond dam. So we've got to get that cut off using that good clay. So that's the plan. Take a look at this down here on the left. See all that black topsoil inside that pond dam? That is what caused this whole thing to fail down through here. This is exactly the spot where all the water was leaking through the pond dam to the backside. All right, I want to give you a little bit of an update here on our process. Now, yesterday, we had 15 loads brought in, and we pretty much got that core trench filled in and got it compacted. We also had the sheep foot roller out here as well. Now, this morning, we're going to be having 4 trucks hauling to us, so I'm expecting around 30 loads today to be brought in. But as you can tell, we got that all packed in, and as we continue to build this up, we're going to be doing a ladder stair step towards the embankment so we can have a nice slope. Looks like we've got another truck here that just came in. Making some pretty good progress. Got the track loader warming up right now, and we shall get fired up and get rolling here in just a minute. All right, folks, you're wanting an update. So here's the update. So far for today on day 2, we have put a total of about 38 truckloads of clay. We did 35 in the dam so far, and we did 3 loads up there by the road for the entrance for the dump trucks to back in. Now this stuff is really, really good stuff, and it's super sticky. I mean, you can tell with it sticking to the bucket like it is. You got to make sure you break that bucket over to clean that out. And then of course on the tracks here, you can tell it's really good. And even this sheep's foot too. It wants to continue to stick to this thing really bad, but it's getting it all ironed in and compacted really well. Been pretty pleased with it so far. I have found out that once you get that stuff spread out with a bucket on that track loader, the best thing to do is run over with the track loader before you take the sheep foot. Because if you take the sheep foot right after there, it gets all clogged up. And that's not fun. That thing almost stopped on me at least a couple of times. But let's go over here and take a look at this. You can tell we are working our way towards the top of the pond dam. We're not gonna go all the way to the top because we've got a spillway over there, and we have about a 3 to 4 foot, what they call freeboard. And so the water will never get to the very top of the pond dam. It actually go over the spillway first. It has about 3 to 4 foot there to work with. So the plan is to take this clay up to about wherever that point is, about 3 to 4 foot down lower than the top of the pond dam. This here is super thick. Down here towards the bottom, we had to fill in that core trench, which took a lot of loads of material. But we got that all worked in, and it's like 6 to 8 foot thick down here towards the bottom. And then as we work our way towards the top, and I'm kind of stair-stepping it is what the plan is, we get to the top, we're gonna have about a foot of material up to about that 3 to 4 foot point. And the reason why is we don't wanna make it super thick up there because we're talking like lots of clay to do that. And you don't necessarily need that. The most important part is the lower portion of your pond dam has some really super thick clay in it, because you've got a 2-acre pond here that's supposed to hold water all the way up through there, and then you've got all that hydrostatic pressure of that force of the water that's going to be pushing down on the dam, and this thing's going to be about 20 foot in depth at the deepest point. So we want to make sure that this lower half here is super thick, and the way we've rolled that in with those tracks and the sheep foot, there's not going to be a chance for that water to try to find its way through there, because golly, that stuff is some of the most slimiest and thickest and stickiest stuff that I have worked with. In fact, you walk on it and man, it wants to stick to the bottom of your shoes. Gotta make sure I take my shoes off when I get home, or my wife will skin my hide. Anyway, we're gonna finish up for the day here. We'll be back tomorrow. The plan is we've got 4 more trucks hauling tomorrow, and I should not go over 60 loads. In fact, I estimated this to take about 54, 55 truckloads. The landowner told me he gives me a little bit of leeway there. He said, if you need to use a few more to make sure it gets out finished right, he said, go ahead and do it. He said, just add it to the bill. So anyway, that's the plan. I hope that you all been enjoying some of these time lapse and some of these videos and some of the drone shots. I'm still working on the drone stuff. I'm kind of a new pilot at it, so I still cannot figure out how to run the dozer and have that dude fly at the same time. Maybe there's a way. Maybe I need to watch some videos on that, right? When you're using a sheep foot roller, please be very careful, because if you get over towards the edge, that side can give out. And you're probably saying, well, how do you know that? Well, let me show you a couple of pictures of what happened to us back earlier in the year when we were compacting a pond dam, got a little close to the edge, and that edge sucked us in, and we ended up turning over a compactor just like this one, but this one that we turned over had glass in it. It was a cab. And thank the Lord we didn't break any glass on the thing. and we was able to use the track loader and a chain to get that dude put back up on its top. But anyway, just be careful when you're actually rolling, okay? Starting to want to slide on me just a little bit. Getting pretty steep up here. Don't want to slide into that dump truck there that's dumping. There we go. When I got weight in that bucket there, it kind of helps with the machine holding it down. There we go. Now we're making some good headway. And I'll keep that material in the bucket to kind of hold me to the bank here. And don't want to back over any large rocks on this upper side. So you got to be kind of careful that way. I seen a rock or two that was pretty good size, and that'll tilt your machine pretty good. And it's okay when you're doing this if you want to squeeze your butt cheeks a little bit too to kind of help you hold the seat. That's certainly okay, because I do that quite often. Taking you in the cab kind of gives you a different perspective on things. Hope that you enjoy that. You guys do me a solid. If you're not a subscriber, I'd love for you to subscribe to the channel as I continue to help landowners with their properties. I do quite a bit of pond work. Do a lot of land work. That's pretty much all I do. I don't do any general excavation stuff. I mean, I might from time to time to help out a friend, but this is where my passion is. It'll get really fun here in a minute when I get up there a little taller, a little higher. Let's see if I can get up there. Still got the weight in my bucket, so that'll help me. I'm just kind of wanting to push these piles down, and then I'll start getting this tracked in before I push that other load up here. Here we go. I'm going to start getting this tracked in here now. So I'll do it this way, and then I'll do it the other way, back and forth, to get this tracked in really good. It's pretty time consuming, but compaction is super important. And this material compacts really awesome. It's pretty solid. So you're probably wondering what I'm up to now. Well, while I'm waiting on a few dump trucks, I thought I would surprise the landowner with a little extra. He didn't ask for this, but if you've been watching my videos very long, you know a lot of the different land projects that I do, I'll give a little extra just to surprise them because I believe in customer service is super important, and I don't mind to give a little extra. These folks have hired me to come in and I want to do them a good job. So what I'm going to do is, you guys remember I have this pile here that was come out of the dam, and it was on that other side over there that had a lot of topsoil in it, and as you can tell it's pretty black. So what I'm doing is I'm going to scoop all this up and I'm going to build a little peninsula right up there. I shot where the water line is going to be, and it's up there by that tree. So I'm going to push some of this stuff up here and build it's not going to be super huge, but it'll be a neat little peninsula that they can kind of walk out on or fish from, and possibly even have a floatable dock that they could put there sometime. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm just kind of pushing this material up here. I can't get a bunch of it at one time, but I can at least get my bucket filled, just like what I did. Take it up here and dump it, and then I'll get it spread out here just after a while and get it tracked in pretty good. I thought that'd be pretty neat having that out there. I think we got this dude all finished up. This pond dam repair is now complete. Ended up putting 60 loads of clay, about 1,000 cubic yards in that front portion of that pond dam. Now you remember that pond dam was no good. Someone spent a lot of money, not this landowner, but the previous guy, to build what he thought would be a beautiful water feature below his house. And it was a great idea, but the soil is not consistent with what you need to build a pond dam with. So we are able to tear out that front portion all the way down to pretty much solid rock, and we compacted that clay into lifts, put about 1,000 cubic yards of clay in there, and that will stop that pond dam from leaking. Also built this nice little peninsula here. This is kind of an extra bonus that we had some extra dirt left, and I thought this would be a really neat little area here, and he could walk right out his house down here, maybe put a park bench or something here to kind of hang out on. That way he can just kind of view this area. You can fish off of it. We took the trees that we had that we pushed over, we put them down here for fish habitat. Also throwed some dirt on top of those, just to extra precaution to keep those things from floating. Had a little bit of brush there that we put. But this pond should hold about 7 million gallons of water. It has about 40 acres of watershed to be able to feed this 2-acre pond. And it's super deep. It's going to be about 22, 23 foot deep in depth. And it will actually fill all the way up to those tree lines, all the way up to the top where you see where the red clay stops. And it actually come all the way down in here. So it's going to be an awesome, awesome water feature. So if you have a pond dam that's leaking, it can be fixed. It's going to cost, especially if you're going to have to import some good clay to rebuild that front portion of the pond dam. But there are a lot of ponds in my area that I see are dry, very similar to this. And it's either because of poor construction, poor soil, maybe the compaction wasn't right. There are a variety of different reasons why ponds won't hold water. We've also got another big pond job that we're going to be fixing up, and it's a 2-acre pond in size as well, and it will not hold water. So hopefully in our next videos here coming up in the next few weeks, we're going to be able to post that one and show you guys about fixing another pond. Hopefully we can make a difference for that landowner, just like what we're doing here. All right, well, thank you for watching the video. Make sure you leave us a good comment, give us a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel. We'll catch you in the next video.